So we are halfway through the year. Let's pause, let's take a look back on how we got here, and then maybe let's project forward a little into the end of the year on this edition of the Video Market Update. As I always like to say, nothing that we talk about today should constitute a recommendation. This is just information only. But I thought now that we are halfway through the year that we would stop and look and see what the indices have done this year. So I'll put up on the screen all the different charts that I kind of want to touch on. The first is the S&P 500, which tends to take the place of the quote unquote stock market. You can see that it's been quite the choppy, rough ride, but ultimately, if we stay the course, there's about an 8-ish% return. You can see on the tech-heavy NASDAQ, again, more volatility and a little bit choppy, you can see a double-digit return. Some of the surprises this year are that small cap, which is an index made up of publicly traded companies that are smaller, right? They're not the larger names that most people have heard of, has done about more than double the broader large cap index, or the S&P 500, with a 20% return, which is good to see because small cap has been beaten up over the last few years. We can look at international. International still is on a good trajectory, given all the global instability and some of the discomfort of what's happening here in the US. International still has held strong. We definitely saw a pullback or a retrenchment off of precious metals. Gold is down, as you can see, 7 or 8%, not terrible, but silver really got wiped out. And I think that's from a little bit too much euphoria from the beginning of the year, and you can kind of see that decline. The bond market, essentially flat, slightly down, but again, I think we are expecting the bond market to perform better than it has. And then something, I'm not a big fan of, but some people are, which is crypto. Bitcoin has really had a rough go of it, even breaking underneath that 60,000 for one coin. So it's been an interesting year. We kind of started out the year strong. Then like last year, we had a pretty significant drop. This time it was because of geopolitical issues and war and instability, and we're still seeing that now. So as we look forward to the end of the year, a couple things we're looking for. Recently, we just had the largest initial public offering in history with SpaceX. What we're looking for now is, will there be more, and will they be from the kind of the tech heavy side like Anthropic, OpenAI? Are we going to see a few more large IPOs? If we do, what does that do in the short term, right? If we look towards the end of the year, and what does it do long term? I think it's fairly clear that the Federal Reserve needs to raise the federal funds rate. But the question is, how independent is the Federal Reserve going to be? In their last meeting, the new Federal Reserve Chairman, Kevin Warsh, said that we're no longer going to give forward guidance, which had been something that they've been doing over the last handful of years. So it calls into question, how much can we anticipate what they're going to do if we don't know their forward guidance? And then lastly, can the geopolitical issues kind of settle themselves? If all of those things kind of go the way we want, you might expect to see good returns in the market. Now we still have the chaos and the hecticness of the midterm elections, so there's a lot to look to, but can we kind of keep going even if it gets a little bit choppy towards the end of the year, so we can finish mainly in the green? That's our hope. We'll keep updates every couple of weeks on these videos. If you have any questions or anything you're seeing in the news or in the market, let me know. But if not, as always, I hope you make it a great week.